Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and sit back and relax because we've got through 9 rounds of matches in 5 weeks. I'm feeling it. Everybody's feeling it. But we're here to review Championship Round 20, which all went down yesterday and indeed Friday night, and we have a week off. Now, wouldn't it be lovely if we could all spend it with our families? But hey ho, let's not get political on this one today. What we are going to do is look over, I was going to say all 12 of yesterday's championship games. Of course, there was only 11 with the late postponement of Rotherham versus Derby. So what I would love to do here is sit with you guys, have a nice chilled out hour, and we can go over all of the action now, and then we can put the championship away for a whole week. Imagine that. We normally get 2-week breaks, but this season being what it is, we'll just have to enjoy the 1 week. We still haven't reached the halfway mark, have we? Round 20 is where we're up to, but things are starting to become a little clearer with the table. Let's just say it's around this time where it starts to crystallise, and we can be a bit more certain of where we're going this season. Quick thank you to Russ, who is our fan sponsor, Russ Peak, a fan and now a friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. And you can see Russ's colours there. When we look at the table and what's been going down, he's probably, and his Canary friends, going to be a happy chappy. Thank you to Russ as ever for his sponsorship of the channel. You too can get involved over at patreon.com and via Super Chat here and at the Teespring store. Go and buy some merchandise. If you do want to, enter the code live at the checkout and you get a 10% discount on everything. Needless to say, if you do order now, it will not be there for Christmas. But then, what is even Christmas this year? Is it even a thing? There we go. Right. Let's get involved in the 12-11 matches. If you're in the stream now, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't already. 13,500 subscribers we've gone over. Thank you to each and every one of you guys. But most importantly, get your comments in on the game we are talking about. Please help me out as well. Someone will come into the stream halfway through and say, has he talked about so-and-so yet? Can you answer them for me in the chat while I'm rambling on about something else? The normal rules apply here. The normal process applies. We will go from top to bottom, all 11 games. And there are your Championship Round 20 results. It was Preston 1, Bristol City 0 on Friday night. We did that as a watch-along. Norwich 2, Cardiff 0, which was a planned watch-along, but then I got accreditation to go to Stoke Blackburn. So I went for the game. I went for the pure football fan, not sitting on the telly and actually managing to get into the game there. So therefore, there was no Saturday Super Stream either. Apologies for those people who were enjoying that show. Then in the 3 o'clocks, Birmingham 1, Borough 4, Brentford 3, Reading 1, Huddersfield 2, Watford 0. Plenty to talk about after that one. Luton 0, Bournemouth 0, Millwall 1, Forest 1. Rotherham and Derby was cancelled while I was in the stadium at Stoke. So probably 15 minutes before 2 o'clock where the teams are coming out, I'd guess. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 0. Pray silence for a Wednesday win. Stoke 1, Blackburn 0. That was the game I was at. Swansea 2, Barnsley 0. Wickham 1, QPR 1. So, as ever, we will start at the top, which means, well, we don't need to say it now because it's been weeks now of Norwich at the top. They're now 5 points clear. So they're not going anywhere soon. So expect all of these reviews for a fair while to start with Norwich because it was indeed Norwich 2, Cardiff 0 on Sky. Get your comments in on this one. Norwich looking super, super strong. As we've gone through the season with Norwich, it's been, can they get through the transfer window? Can he get Buendia and Cantwell's heads right? Remember, after that defeat against Bournemouth, then it's been, okay, they're starting to go now. Then it's been, well, they've got some injuries. Can they cope? Then it's been, they're just getting through games. And now, worryingly, at the top of the league, they're starting to play pretty well, aren't they? And starting to look more like the actual pattern of play from 2018-19. That's been the last thing to come. Looking very, very strong. McGovern is still in goal. I think Krull is very close now. Aaron's, there's a little injury plus by Aaron's there. Anyone in the comments, let me know what happened to Max Aaron's, because he's a great player for them. Zimmerman, Hanley, Sorensen. So still without Gibson, but Hanley and Zimmerman, that's top-end championship stuff, isn't it? Skip is partnered by McLean, but look, Rupp is back on the bench now. Buendia, Vrancic and Cantwell off of Pookie. And then, the strength of this squad now is about to make itself known. Look on the bench now. Martin, who's done well. Hugel, Stieperman, Dowell, Tetty and Rupp all fit enough to be on the bench again. And Norwich are winning games and top of the league. There is your Cardiff team. Smithies, Bakuna, Morrison, Nelson, Cunningham, Ojo, Volks, Pack, Wilson, Glatzel. Rules up top? I don't think so. Anyone watch that game? I bet he played central midfield. I was in the car. Actually, I was talking to my dear father while this game was on, so I didn't even listen to it, I have to say. And yeah, there's your bench for Cardiff. It didn't much matter, did it? Here are some stills. And God, he's playing so well as well. Buendia, edge of the box there. No deflection on this one this week. He's going to find the corner to Smithy's right. Class above at the moment. Absolute class above Buendia. The only chance Norwich have of not going up now is if he leaves in January and maybe Pookie gets injured. But he looks fantastic, Buendia. And here is a good save, actually. Lots of people a bit critical of McGovern when he came in, but clean sheet yesterday. Good save there from Morrison, who's the championship set play guy, isn't he? And when you're top of the league and you want another option, here's Cantwell, who did really well in the Premier League last season, now coming into the team, playing off the left. And what a great goal that was as well. Just bullets it in with the right foot. And I dare say, you tell me, I think Cantwell's better than Hernandez, and I think Dowell's better than Stieperman. So I think the front four is better than it was in 18-19. Is Hugel, the reserve, better than Rhodes? You tell me in the comments. So this is only going to go one way now for Norwich, isn't it? Get your thoughts in the comments. But look at that, 5 straight wins. They've only got 3 defeats this season. They must be so long unbeaten. No, they did lose to Luton, didn't they? But anyway, I'll tell you what, let me just pull the results up. But if you're looking at, wow, so that's 8 wins and a draw in the last 10 games. 8 wins and a draw, that's 25 points in 10 games. 2.5 points per game they're currently functioning at. Cardiff have been on good form as well, haven't they? Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in 8 for Cardiff, but Norwich too good for them yesterday. Have a look at the table. They're 5 points clear. They're not going anywhere. They're only going to improve now. And again, like I say, the only possible way they now don't finish in the top 2 or even top is if Buendia were to leave in January. If an Arsenal, comes in with a big offer and he decides, look, I want to go off and do that, and then maybe Pookie gets injured. But it's basically at the moment now, if those 2 are on the pitch and they've got a reasonably fit squad with this pattern of play and this manager, they're getting promoted, aren't they? In terms of Cardiff, well, it looks like most teams are going to lose to Norwich at the moment, doesn't it? And Cardiff drop into 10th. I mean, if you wound it back 8 or 9 games ago, they were 15th. So big picture, they are picking up nicely. Let's have a look at your comments in on this one. But we just need to go to a super chat first. Thank you very much to Jim West. I will drink to that. I'm on the Pepsi already. Why go to Arsenal and end up back in the Championship? Yeah, right. Okay. We look so good. So I've heard. So I've heard. Somehow this Norwich team as well. I think the players are better. The squad is definitely stronger, isn't it? So I think Norwich have the squad and momentum. Even if they lose Buendia in the window, I think he'll stay to the end of the season. Yeah, it's just up to Buendia now. He's I don't want to say a player is bigger than a club. He's doing them a favour by staying and playing in the Championship. I know they pay his wages, don't they? But it just depends whether he views it now as, well, I'm going to end up somewhere else anyway. I may as well go in January if the offer's decent enough. And it also depends how desperate a buyer is. And if it is Arsenal, they're pretty desperate at the moment. And can they come up with the money? And Norwich should be in a big bargaining position, providing that Buendia doesn't, force a move out. That's what you wouldn't want if you were a Norwich fan. So we'll see. We'll see. If Norwich don't lose anyone in January, you can see us getting 100 points pretty likely. It could be close, actually. If Buendia and Pukki stay fit all season, it could be close. Yeah. It looks pretty ominous, doesn't it? Because we are top and they have a route to the Prem, I can't see them wanting to go, and it'll take a big bid. I have to say, no offence, I don't think Norwich are a relevant factor in what Buendia's decision will be ultimately. And I don't mean to be rude. I think his future is above Norwich, and unless he decides that he can stay and they can, I don't know, finish 16th or something in the Premier League, and he wants to go slowly. But the thing is, if he gets, I don't know, say, let's just pull a random club out of the hat. Who's in the Premier League? Leicester. Yeah. If he gets an offer from Leicester and he can go straight to the top 6 of the Premier League, well, Norwich can't match that. They can't match that unless they have an incredible rise for probably 5 or 6 years, at which point he's pushing 30. So it all depends on Buendia, doesn't it? If he's just so good, isn't he? And so above the Championship, it's not true. And if he decides, look, what is he, 23, 24? If he decides, right, I've been at this club a few years now, I've given them really, really good service, I'm off. And so, yeah, Sean has 50 million and Arsenal can have him. If it's a stupid offer, he'll go, won't it? And if he really wants to go, he'll go. So only problem is we should have been 5 or 6. Buendia debate won't go in January. Why would he when we're going up? I just don't buy that logic. I don't see a Championship promotion, which he's already got, outranks a huge contract at someone who'd be a much bigger club. I understand why fans would feel that way. Oh, why would he go? He can win promotion. It's his career is now bigger than Norwich. I hate to say, if he wants to go. Hey, as fans of football teams, we all want our players to hang around and say, no, I'll get a promotion with you and fight to make you better. But then if and when a much bigger club, if they do, they might not, hey? If a much bigger club, and I'm not talking about, I don't know, Brighton coming in, no offence to Brighton, who are down the bottom, Newcastle or Palace or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Arsenal or, a big club or even a European club. Then, it becomes irrelevant. And I do understand the fan view of, oh, why would they go? there's many reasons why they would go. But hey, he may stay. It's a debate for another day. I do disagree with this as well. Whether we'll only let him go on our terms, you don't know what discussions they've had already. Whether it's Emmy, will you stay? But if we get this offer, will you go? And also, you don't know if he'll kick up a fuss. That's the thing. And we've seen it before. Player versus club, high value player always wins. But we'll see. And clubs and sporting directors can dig their heels in until the cows come home. They really, really can. But if the player wants to go and essentially downs tools, there's nothing they can do. I'm not saying he'll do that, but I'm just saying the idea that it's in the club's hands. It's not really, is it? A really high value player playing in the Championship. If they really want to stamp their feet, they can go. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of what the fee is and what the club's holding out for, because ultimately, once you get in that situation, the player is just devaluing and they become a white elephant, don't they? It's sell before they lose their value. So we'll see. But that's literally the only thing that can derail it now, isn't it? Him going. And yes, they've got good recruitment. They've got other good players. But I think proportionally, he's so important to them. But we'll see. But anyway, it should be a happy time. Norwich are top at Christmas and 5 points clear. Moving on. Where are we going next? We're going to Bournemouth and Luton. Luton 0, Bournemouth 0. I haven't got any steals for this. I did have a quick look at the highlights. Didn't appear to be too much in terms of big chances and all of that jazz in this one. So we'll just throw that one up and have a look at, one big chance to Luton, none for Bournemouth. I said, I think I predicted a draw in this one. Did I? I can't quite remember. So Bournemouth going to Christmas in second. And when you consider, you compare Norwich and Bournemouth, where Bournemouth lost Ake and Ramsdale and Wilson, that would be the equivalent of Norwich losing Aarons, Buendia and Pookie, wouldn't it? The main players, whereas Norwich lost Lewis and Godfrey and... Is there another one? I can't quite remember. And Bournemouth changed their manager as well. I think Bournemouth will be really happy to be second, won't they? And a little bit clear of Watford, where there's some possible chaos ensuing at Watford, isn't there? We'll talk about them in a sec. So, I think decent job by Bournemouth, really is. And I thought that's where the chaos would be in my early season predictions. Who would have known it will actually be at Watford? Should have known, shouldn't I? There's your Bournemouth team there. Begovic, Smith, Cook, Simpson, Kelly. Get your comments in on this one, by the way. The other Cook, Billing and Lerma, Brooks, Solanke and Stanislas. So they're in second at Christmas. The manager's settled. They've got a settled style of play. You might still see King possibly go out in January. And then it's the same thing with Norwich and Buendia. It's, will they get a stupid offer for Brooks, and will Brooks agitate for a move? You'd think that would be the one there that might be a mover in January if one of the big Premier League boys, or even higher, one of those Champions League boys, they're not bothered about dropping 30, 40 million on a player, are they? So that's your hope. If you are one of the parachute cartel and you're going to sell in January, sell to a Champions League team and add 10 million quid on the fee. Away you go. There's your Luton team there. Shea, Craney, Lockyer, Bradley, Potts, Davis, Dewsbury Hall and Panzu, Berry, Collins and Hilton. There's the numbers in the game. So 0-0, one big chance to Luton, none for Bournemouth. 4 shots on target in Luton's favour, 2 on target in Bournemouth, but 16 shots, 60% possession. I don't know. Some of the numbers give it to Luton. Some of the numbers give it to Bournemouth. It was a draw. We'll call it a draw. If anyone watched, let me know in the comments. Both teams will surely be happy. If you're Luton and you've got one of the parachute cartel, and they beat Norwich recently, didn't they? And you've taken 4 points off them at home. happy days. But into the bottom half now. Big picture, Luton are doing great though, aren't they? 14th position. And we do have to, sorry, Luton fans, look downwards there, 11 points off the bottom. But out of respect, I'll also look off the relegation zone, excuse me. I'll also look upwards for Luton and say, well, they're 6 points off the playoffs. So closer to the playoffs than they are the relegation zone. So good news there. And Bournemouth, only 2 defeats in the first 20 games. All the things I've said still stand. And that distance now, 4 points above Watford, is probably the one they'll look at. Although Brentford are sneaking on up there now, aren't they, for a possible automatic push. Let's have a look at your comments on Bournemouth and Luton. With all due respect to Luton, Bournemouth's weakness when compared to Norwich's too many draws against bottom half teams. Indeed, Luton performing nicely after their escape last season. Great to see. I'd be happy with this result, sure, if I'm from Luton. Happy with a draw because we kept a run of clean sheets, which we're not used to. Begovic possibly the best keeper in the league. A Luton fan, but annoyed with the foul on Nombe that wasn't given. I haven't seen that, I do have to say. Tyndall having a crack post-match. They're a difficult side to play against with their style of football. It's the worst pitch we've played on this season. Both teams have to play on the pitch. Did you see Swansea's pitch, for goodness sake? A few are going to be enjoying the week off, aren't they? What did Jones say as well? Thank you, delayed pilot. As the game went on, I probably wouldn't have taken a point because we had better situations. We got in behind their back three. Just couldn't find the right ball. There we go. Let's move on and talk about Swansea, who won 2-0. They've had an up and down week. We did them in the midweek, didn't we, Swansea, in their game against Derby. But they've actually, I say up and down, they've got 10 points in their last 5. So I will take that back. Not up and down at all, are they, Swansea? They're performing nicely. I don't know why SofaScore is doing that with the picture. Looks a bit stupid, doesn't it? There we go. We'll have the players' shirts back, shall we? Only a refresh away. Have you tried turning it off and on again for fans of the IT crowd? Swansea 2, Barnsley 0. Get your thoughts in on this one. Probably a good game, this, if the pitch was a bit better. Woodman in goal for Swansea. Cabango comes back in. Bennett, Gueye, Robertson, Bidwell, Grimes, Fulton. Dander starts with Lowe and Ayew. Lowe scores again. Is he turning into the striker they need now? He's in good form, isn't he? And for Barnsley, Walton, Solbauer, Hellick, Anderson, same as. Britain, Adore there. So no Styles. Was he suspended? Someone let me know in the comments. Mowat and James, Woodrow, Chaplin, Freeser, nice and solid. Let's have a look at the goals on the stills. Ignore the pitch if you can. Headed on, and Jamal Loslow showing very good striker's instincts indeed there. To be on the end of that. Right place, right time. Stroke that one home. 1-0. How many goals has he got now? Low. He's on his way to converting to being a decent striker, isn't he? Can you spot the ball there? Near post, Adebayo. He's trying to defend a corner. He's going to flick it into his own goal for the second one. State of that pitch. Not that I would blame any groundsman for struggling with a game every 3.5 days. It's a game every it's a game every week, basically, on the home pitches, isn't it? Rather than every 2 or 1.5. Which does make a difference, I guess. Get your comments in on this one. We'll look at the numbers. The numbers tell us big chances are always revealing. 2 big chances to 0 in Swans' favour. They're obviously thrown own goal into the mix. Only 1 shot on target for Barnsley in this one, even though they had the more of the possession. Swansea come out on top. We said 2 good footballing sides in the preview, didn't we? Swansea do have the better defence. Maybe that was the deciding factor. Steve says, workmanlike performance from the Swans. Pitch has now been ripped up. Oh, okay. Good news. Good news indeed. Don't Swansea have their rugby there to pass? If they do, that would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Liam says, as a Swans fan, I'm happy with Lowe's performances lately, and he must be getting better and more consistent at finishing. Swans maybe signing forward in the window. We've expected them to for ages, Liam, but are they going to pull an Ollie Watkins here? What are we looking at? Delayed pilot, Cooper on the game and pitch. I thought I would get a response, and we did. There was a real intensity in training. We were all pleased about the pitch being replaced. It's quite exciting. I heard this, says Jay. So Swans pitch diseased. So what, a disease in the grass? Has the grass got COVID? I'm not joking about COVID, but yeah, not good. But let's just quickly bring the table up, because I didn't do that. I went straight to your comments. Swansea, great stuff by Cooper there. 36 points from 20. Decent. Only 4 off the 2 points per game that Norwich are killing at the top there. Only the 4 defeats and the good defensive record. We've said it a million times. Can a team, any team, Swansea or not, get past one of the 3 parachute teams into second place? We got Norwich sailing off into the distance at the moment. We got Bournemouth tucked in second. And you just look at a Swansea and Brentford, and that's the challenge, isn't it? Can they usurp the parachute cartel? Good luck to them. Good luck to Barnsley. They just dropped into the bottom half. I think they'll be aiming for a top half finish now. If they can keep Ishmael's form since he's arrived going, they'll certainly get one, won't they? Let's move on. And it's Brentford 3, Reading 1. So Brentford now have essentially completed their climb into the top 6, because they were lagging a little bit for a few weeks. But they seem to be in there now. And it's a lovely, long, unbeaten run for the Bees. Should we start with the unbeaten run, in fact, just so we get a bit of context for this? Let me just bring that up. Look down the bottom, guys, to the left. I'll make it this tournament only. I think it goes back longer than that. That's the last 10 games. 5 wins, 5 draws. So 20 points in 10 is your 2 points per game. You think on an unbeaten run that they would have gone above it, but still just a few too many draws. That's probably why they're just a little bit off those top guys, but only 3 points off Bournemouth now. And it was a top 6 game. And we talked about injury crises, haven't we, in terms of a Stoke, a Millwall, Norwich. Jake says 13 unbeaten. Thank you. A Stoke, a Millwall, or a Norwich. I look at an injury crisis as not as how many injuries you've got, as in who's injured. Because basically, I mean, for example, if you took Norwich and you now said Buendia and Pukki are out until the end of the season, I would suspect that would be rather a worry. If you took Brentford and took, I don't know, Tony and Raya and Henry out, and this is what's happened to Reading. It's not an injury crisis in terms of numbers, but you've taken out Lucas Zhao, Yaku Maite, and Omar Richards, and it's going to screw with them, isn't it, for a while? I know John Swift is on the way back. So look, there's your Reading team. I've apologised for them enough now. Raphael in goal. He didn't have a bit of an error for one of the goals. Holmes, Morrison, Moore. Estevez played left back, did he? Anyone watch this? Is that true? Laurent, Rinomota, Semedo. I don't believe that formation for 1 minute. It's always 4-2-3-1. Unless the lack of striker has meant he's done that. Again, smart me up in the comments if you know better than me on that. Ejaria, Elise, and Bulldog. So surely it was 4-2-3-1 with Bulldog up top and Elise wide and Semedo up in the 3 off the front. Anyway, who cares? The game's done and Reading lost it. Brentford got the win. Raya, Fosu, Good, Sørensen and Henry. So no Janssen, no Dalsgaard, no Pinnock in that back 4. Any of them on the bench? No. Light at the back there, Brentford. De Silva, Jensen. I know Norgard played reserves yesterday lunchtime. So he'll return soon, you would think. And Mbuemo, Tony and Kanyos. And 2 goals for Mbuemo. And we've said he's not reached the form of last season. he looked like he had in this game. So great news for Brentford and Buemo if he's contributing. He's missing his mate Ben Rama this season, but some excellent stuff here. Not great this one. I like Michael Morrison a lot. I don't know quite what sort of a blocking position that is. And it takes a little nick off him and it goes right through Raphael's hands there. So not a great goal defensively for Reading. This is a great goal attack-wise for Brentford, though. And that's classic last season, Brian Mbuemo, isn't it? Cutting in off the right, bending it in the far corner. If he hits form now to join along with Tony and then Norgard returns as well, there is still a higher ceiling for Brentford as well. Can they get Goddess playing Kanyos in that position at the moment? And then Mbuemo, nice, decisive, gets into the box and gets the second for him and the third for Reading. I noticed Ivan Toney had the captain's armband on as well. So his rise has been really spectacular there at Brentford, obviously in Jansen's absence there. So a bit of a blurry one. Shone Aluke's come off the bench. I think that's another lovely assist by Michael Elise, which I can check. Yeah. Again, we talked about Buendia at Norwich or a Brooks at Bournemouth. I wonder if someone will have a punt on Michael Elise. He just looks like a brilliant player, doesn't he? And I think he's about 18 or something. If someone thinks they'll get ahead of the curve and throw in a speculative millions and millions offer for him, I wonder. Anyway, let's have a look at the numbers, guys. 56-44 in the possession in Reading's favour. 5 shots to 4 on target in Reading's favour as well. No big chances in this game, so it looks like they've got killed by a mistake, and then Mbuemo's good finishing, and then you're out of sight. You find yourself 3-0 down, a bit of a star performance. Then it looks like Mbuemo was the difference really in this game. There you go. Norgard was on the bench. Interesting. I'm sure I saw that he'd played reserve. Sorry, probably got that wrong. Let's have a look at the tables and then we'll go to your comments on this one. So Brentford moving on up nicely, and Swansea and Brentford both making a realistic challenge towards the parachute cartel. However, how many points per game? 1 point. Okay, so decent for both of them. Just a little bit off it. Maybe too many draws for Brentford, but it's a fine unbeaten run and they're starting to look good now. And can they get that front three now with Mbuemo playing somewhere near he was last season, looking like it was with the absence of obviously Ben Rama and Watkins in there. Reading 3 defeats in 4. And that's probably, forgive me if I'm wrong about this, probably the first time they've dropped out of the top 6 for a while. Is it? Someone let me know on that, because they had steadied after the 4 straight defeats after the crazy first 8 games. But big picture, Paunovic doing a really good job, and they need Zhao, Maite, Richards and Swift back. That's a real injury crisis, isn't it? 4 essential key players. What are you guys saying here? Dalsgaard is second captain. Obviously, no Jansen. Okay, interesting. Leicester linked with Elise. I'm sure there'll be a few, won't they? Bulldog started wide with Elise in the middle. That didn't work either. Elise was 19 last week. What an excellent player he is. Brentford unbeaten in 13. Now, good to see them back on song. Paunovic did go 4-3-3 for the first time. Admitted it was... Estevez did play left back because Gibson, who was covered for Richards, added. Oh dear, yuck. Izajaria wasted out wide. Maybe in a 4-3-3. I don't know. The Reading fans will probably tell us. I like him out wide in a 4-2-3-1, but then he can get a bit closer to the middle. So Pinnock suspended, Jansen injured. Good to see Charlie Good. Yeah, he's come back at the right time. Pushkas also out for Royals. Yeah, they are struggling. Bart says, RIP Championship cartel. For now, yeah, I think Bournemouth and Norwich are still flying the flag for the cartel up the top there, aren't they? Where are we going next, guys? We're going, oh, here we go. Huddersfield 2, Watford 0. I wonder if there's something to talk about in relation to this game. Watford fall, and so does boss Vladimir Ivic. Huddersfield 2, Watford 0. And my God, I hadn't seen the goals in this one until about an hour or so ago. And it was just like, what? There's your Watford team there. Foster, Kabasele, Ekong and Wilmot. So a back three there. Kapue returns. Got some really good players, Watford, haven't they? Sema and Gakia. Garner cleverly. So no Chalobah in there. We often see him. Hugh still finding his way back. Sarr and Gray. So no Deeney. But let's not speculate on the influence Mr. Deeney has at Watford. We don't know. We're not in the dressing room. Lots. For Huddersfield, Schofield in goal there. They've played, I think, three different keepers this season, haven't they? Pippa and Toffolo, who we like a lot as fullbacks. Sarr, Edmonds, Green, O'Brien, Hogg, Eiting, Bakuna, Campbell, and Benza. So Bakuna is now sort of deputising for the injured Karoma. And, oh, my God, these goals, guys. So the first one, I wonder if Ben Foster's GoPro caught this one because horrible mistake. He gets caught in possession, tries to play it sort of through Benza. Bounces off the Huddersfield forward straight out to Fraser Campbell, who sticks it in the empty net. And then, even worse, that is Etienne Kapue completely misjudging the height of a cross. You can see he's trying to clear it with his. Have I got that right? Is that his? No. He's misjudged the height and probably the foot. I can't tell whether it's his right foot or his left foot. There, the picture's so inconclusive. But he ends up hitting it into his own net and giving Foster no chance. So you're 2-0 down through two horrible mistakes, and evidently all is not well in the dressing room. Look, I wasn't there. You weren't there, but something's happened at half-time, full-time, and Ivic is gone. We'll talk about that big picture after we just finished talking about the game. Huddersfield continue to get some impressive results. Normally, they score slightly more beautiful goals, than they did in this one. But big picture, Corberon's doing a superb job. Excellent job. Use whatever word you're comfortable with. He's doing a good job, isn't he? A lot of us expected this to go south with Corberon at Huddersfield. It's not. There's the numbers. 21 shots to Watford, 5 on target, 4 big chances to 1, and they've gone down to 2 mistakes. So whatever you say about Ivic, his players didn't execute yesterday and didn't have their shooting boots on. Deeney doesn't make it off the bench. Peritza on ahead of him. I'm sure that went down like the proverbial fart in church with Mr. Deeney in the dressing room. And there's the table. So, look, we're going to get lots of people who don't watch the Championship and have this sort of reflexive emotional response to someone being sacked and go, oh, that's madness. But it's the Pozzos. Ivic hasn't looked happy for a while. If we think Watford have a rather powerful captain in there and without doing the old name drop, I was in the press conference against Rotherham and he dug his players out and their attitude. And I was definitely thinking something's not right. What I'm saying is, for those of us who followed this, it's not that big a surprise, is it? Given what's been happening and who's involved and the expectations of those that run the club. 5th position, 34 points. So all it takes is someone to come in and hit, 1.8 points per game for their first 4 or 5 games, and they'll be back in the top 3. The issue is, are they letting Norwich and Bournemouth get an advantage? And I mean, we've said for a while, which it's probably a little bit unfair to Brentford and Swansea and Borough and Stoke and Reading and everyone who's chasing. But you might expect 2 of the parachute cartel in the top 2 and 1 to be the favourites for the playoffs. And whether that's going to be Watford, and you just don't know in the playoffs, do you? I saw Stoke play yesterday. Imagine a Stoke versus Watford playoff semi-final. Might be a bit of a grueling watch unless Watford bring in a expansive, flamboyant playing style with their new manager. In which case I would change my mind. But at the moment, just a pragmatic team that's kind of been sort of pushing out the points per game, but not looking 100% at home with what they were being asked to do. Huddersfield into the top half, 28 points from 28 wins as well, 10 points from the last 5. There's not a lot bad we can say about Huddersfield and Corberon. Great job there, and anything in between 10th and 16th, I think, is a good job for Huddersfield. So, right, should we get your comments in on what's going on at Watford? Then, what have we got here? Watford are actually very lucky. They have enough quality that even with those issues, they sit 5th in a good spot. Very logical getting it done early. If it's not working, it's not working. 4 away goals in 10 games for Watford. It did seem that the players didn't particularly buy into this style, that he wanted them to be sort of very robust. And I mean, look at Stoke. The players buy into that 100% and it works a treat. So I don't know. Ivic said after the game, he didn't bring Deeney on because of a disciplinary issue. Look, it's going to rumble and rumble this who's running that dressing room, Ivic or Deeney, isn't it? But someone say to me, there's no smoke without fire, Ben. I don't know. 4th straight home win for Huddersfield. In the words of Trump, maybe their season is rounding the turn. I got the best dressing room in the world. No one has a better dressing room than me. It's probably the worst Trump impression you'll ever hear. Yes, that's the second time we've heard about that. It appears there were wider issues with Ivic, but it's becoming beyond a funny joke with the amount of coaches they go through. That's cruel, but I know what you mean. Cycling goalkeeper will be a good watch for this one. Big mistake there. Mr. Football says, to be honest, for Huddersfield, they were gifted both goals, but defensively, they grinded it out, even when they weren't the better team. Nice. Nice. There we go. And Bilic, Howe, they'll certainly be in the market for a bigger name than most other championship teams, given the parachute money and the excellent squad. And they get 3 years of it. So we'll see. I wonder if an angry Slaven Bilic come in. Bilic is expensive, isn't he? I know he was paid a lot at West Brom. But or Eddie Howe, I don't know. And then you'll get Paul Cook and Cowley, but then the Pozzos will probably pick someone up from Udinese or something like that. I don't know. Just missing that southern twang there. Did I get that? Did I get the arms right and the sort of childish tone? Let's just say anyway. Let's not get into Mr. Trump. Moving on. Birmingham 1, Middlesbrough 4, and Warnock's got 3 straight wins, everybody, and he's in the top 6 again. He just does it, doesn't he? I remember when Borough lost to Norwich, and then they went on a bit of a poorer run, and I thought, shame. They moved down the table a little bit. No, here they are. They're back in the top 6 a few games later. Should we just track that run real quickly? So, yeah, you can see after that Norwich game, have I got the split screen up? Yeah, I have. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 defeats in 6. But you win 3 games back to back, and that soon changes, doesn't it? Warnock working the old magic again with, let's not forget, a team that Jonathan Woodgate had teetering in and out of the bottom 3. And only for a mad run over Christmas, Borough were in a lot of problems last season. There's your Borough team: Bettinelli, Jokesteele, Fry, McNair, Boller, Morsey, Wing, Tavernier, Saville, Johnson. Assombalonga comes in for Birmingham. Yeah, a bit of a day to forget, wasn't it? Etheridge, big mistake from him in this one. Colin, Roberts, Dean, Pedersen, San Jose, Clayton, Bella, Terrell, Sanchez, Hogan. on paper, that's a good team that Birmingham have. I've been saying this for a while, actually. I quite like where the recruitment and the squad's going. Get your thoughts in on this one. Birmingham 1, Borough 4. Let's have a look at the goals. Birmingham took the lead, actually. Really nice finish by Scott Hogan there. Left-footed slams that one into the top corner to Bettinelli's right. There's a Sombalonga, who apparently always scores against Birmingham. Gets inside and dinks it over Etheridge. Nice finish from the angle there. Looks like Etheridge has got his positioning right as well, so it must have been a good finish. There is, it's a difficult one to get, actually. It's a bit blurry, sorry. Saville arriving, a runner from midfield. And can we give Warnock some credit? You know he's told George Saville, get in the box, make runs, we'll get the ball into you. And he scored a few goals, Saville, already. That's 2-1. Neil Etheridge look away, just a corner. Easy catch, under no pressure. Oh, dear. Butterfingers over his head and into the goal. Slips through his fingers. Poor stuff there. Who scored the fourth Middlesbrough goal? That's too blurry for me to even work it out. Lewis Wing. Lewis, I should have known from the fact it was a long-distance goal. It would be Lewis Wing. But, yeah, great win there, 4-1. There are the numbers. And Warnock does the job with 47% possession and only 2 big chances. Of course, he does no big chances for Birmingham in this game by the sofa score metrics. And look, if you told me at the start of the season, I know he had a good run at the end of last season to keep them up, but that he's in 6th place and Middlesbrough now trying one of these teams that had parachute payments and now doesn't. And you have to reset then at that point and try and climb the seemingly insurmountable mountain that only sort of Huddersfield and Sheffield United have managed to do in terms of getting promoted, having never had. It's not fair to say never because Borough have had them, but they're now in that same sort of zone with not massive saleable assets, and they're 6th after 20 games with only 5 defeats and a defence that concedes less than a goal a game. It's just a very good job by Mr. Warnock so far. Obviously, if you look below them, you've got Cardiff, who have still got a year 2 parachute payment, Reading, who are functioning well, and Stoke, who, they're just going to grind this out, aren't they? So there are challenges for that playoff position, but you wouldn't bet against Mr. Warnock. And if none of them have a competent rest of the season, he will happily take that playoff position and performing beautifully. Birmingham, 3 straight defeats. Karanka obviously against his old club here. I like the look of the squad. He's just got to execute now and get this pattern of play sorted. And in theory, they should trend upwards. But 3 straight defeats is trending downwards, rather, isn't it? And any amount of points in those games, and they're starting to push for top half. But ifs, buts, and maybes. Let's have a look at your comments on this. Neil Warnock's Red and White Army. Absolutely. Warnock has got Saville back to the form he showed at Millwall. I still can't believe the wonders. I still can't believe where we are with the team we have. Warnock working wonders, excuse me. 6 home games without a win for Brum. Wing, I got it in the end, Matthew. I got it in the end, didn't I? First time we've scored 4 away from home since beating Mill 5-1 in 2014. A massive win for us yesterday. Come on, Borough. Birmingham was awful as soon as they scored. Then we capitalised on our chances. Really dislike Warnock, but no doubt he's mastered the championship. Borough had scored 5 away in their previous 9 games. Brum, Dyer at home. Right. Mr. E says only 1 top 6 position to be decided if Watford sort themselves out. There's quite some sense in that, Mr. E, isn't there? That the 3 parachute teams will be in there. Brentford and Swansea are the best organised of the rest, and then maybe between, I don't know, Stoke, Borough, Reading, whoever wants that last position. Warnock seemingly enjoying things. The 2 centre-halves were immaculate, and everything that happened in midfield was around Saville. So I can't do his voice. I'm really pleased for them all, because they're a good group. They're a good group, aren't they? You got to die to win 3 points. I can't do accents. I should just not try. Dear oh me. Who do I fancy to get that position? Let me do some research on that, Lewis, because I get clipped when I say stuff and get it wrong. So, right, moving on. Stoke 1, Blackburn 0. I was at the game. Thank you to Prost International for getting me accreditation to be in this game. And I can tell you firsthand that Stoke got in front and clung on, defended nicely. The rain started to pour, but they ground out another victory, as they do under Michael O'Neill. A few injured players for Stoke, obviously Tyrese Campbell, the most notable there. Blackburn with a defensive injury crisis, having to play Bradley Johnson at centre-half there. So Bursick, Collins, Suter, Chester, Fox. I remember Stoke still playing a centre-back at right-back. Cousins and Timon, Powell, Ince and Brown, Fletcher up the top. For Blackburn, Kaminsky, Nyambi, Lenihan, Johnson, Douglas, Holtby, Tribal, Rothwell, Gallagher, and the dynamic duo who couldn't score of Armstrong and Elliott. Let's just have a look at the screenshot, but I can tell you in great detail about this game. There is the goal, just out of nowhere, really. Quick throw in. Fox crosses it in. Powell arriving. Bit disappointing from a Blackburn defensive position because essentially they only had Fletcher to look after and Powell making the late run. But it was the run that got the goal, and he scored tons of goals like that in his career. Blackburn had so much ball, so much territory, so much possession. That's a Barry Douglas shot about to hit the post and just bounce past Adam Armstrong. That was as close as they had got. But there was some sense that, and I tried to articulate this in my match review, there was some sense that although it was attack against defence, basically for the entire second half, there wasn't actually that many moments where you thought Stoke were really clinging on for dear life. They're good, very good defensive setup, Stoke, and in those conditions, you have to tip your cap to them for going on and getting the victory. The numbers will no doubt back up what I say. Yeah, look, one shot on target and you're getting the win. So economic from Stoke as ever. However, look, that one shot was a big chance. Two big chances for Blackburn. Hit the woodwork. An attack against defence training session, and in that second half, in the rain, and the big names of Harvey Elliott and Adam Armstrong couldn't get the goal. Get your thoughts in the comments on that one. Stoke's churn continues. Are they just destined to be seventh place if they can't? You feel like to finish in the playoffs, you need to, at some point in the season, sort of win 4, draw 1, lose 1 across 6 games and pick up a nice load of points in one go. And that's just the only thing Stoke are lacking, isn't it? Injuries taken into consideration. Look at Warnock there. Warnock's done both a long unbeaten run and a winning run in a row. I think that's what Stoke need to do. Although I would say, squad-wise, when they're fit, and given Stoke's status as the next Premier League team and the Bet365 support, squad-wise, I think they're really strong. But obviously, a bit of an injury issue at the moment. Blackburn 11th, 3 defeats in 4 points in 5. I don't know. I think Blackburn have got a lot of good players, but not quite putting together a top 10 set of results yet, are they? What are your comments on this one, guys? I wouldn't say Blackburn. I still say Blackburn won't finish any higher than they are now. Mobe underachieving, maybe just 1 or 2 places, Chris, but I think I might agree with you. Stoke will make playoffs when their injuries clear up. Those comments would disappoint me if I was a Blackburn fan. If Mowbray is going to do a job there, he'll have to get used to it and find a way to win. Yeah, possibly. Key players out with injuries. Totally understand that. What do we got here? Mowbray's post. We had a reputation for scoring a lot of goals earlier in the season, which perhaps is making it harder for us in that teams are playing more men behind the ball and deeper. Have you seen Stoke under Michael O'Neill? You knew this was coming, didn't you? You knew this was coming. Anyone else on Stoke and Blackburn? Always like Mowbray's ethos. Yes, we took your lot up, Hamza, didn't he? Armstrong will be off to the Prem soon. And again, we mentioned Buendia and Brooks and Elise. Yes, throw Armstrong into that category of panicky Premier League team worried about losing the 100 million TV money, or just West Ham who buy up all the best Championship players. He'll be one of the players that someone could consider taking a punt on. Preston 1, Bristol City 0. We did this as a watch along. I'll just quickly go to Matthew's comment. Yes, Harvey Elliott is excellent, and I have to say, for what is he, 17? There's a lot of influence and pressure on him to get that Blackburn team playing. He's the one you see. Always amuses me when you see sort of 30-year-old central midfielders just stand aside, give him the ball. Do you know what I mean? So, hey ho. Right, where are we going? We're going to Preston 1, Bristol City 0. And this was our Friday night watch along. Get your thoughts in on this one. A third straight defeat for the Robins, who are on a little bit of a slide. There are the teams. Preston with Rudd. Rudd Earl is getting some football there at left back. Had him on loan at Ipswich last season. A sort of tall fullback who can, athletic-looking guy, play left centre-back as well. Davies, Huntington, Fisher, the walking yellow card. He's got one there. Although I was told he cleaned up his act, actually. Or was it Pearson who cleaned up his act? Anyway, Brown and Gallagher in central midfield. Gallagher's still got the technique, if not the legs, to play that position. Bark-Hayes and Johnson, Sinclair, Maguire. So no Reese up top or Stockley. For Bristol City, they go to a 3 again, still missing Mawson at the back there. And I think after this game, particularly Patterson as well in a number 10 or one of those attacking roles off the front somewhere. So it was Viner, Callis and Moore, Rowan Hunt, the wing-backs, Masengo, Naj and O'Dowda with Wells and Martin. So only really, given the injuries there at Bristol City, Backinson and Semenyo as options outside of that. Not much else Holden can go with. And here is the penalty. And not only is it very similar to Max Aaron's going over Liam Moore, it's the same referee as well, Eltringham. I had a long look at this, and Sky, it took me, I have to say, it took me 6 or 7 replays. But when you're looking at 6 or 7 replays to try and find contact in a tackle in the penalty area, then there might not be contact. Again, no smoke without fire. Yes, I do understand, and we had one years ago with Stevie Gerrard at Bramall Lane, that no contact doesn't necessarily mean that there's no foul. And that we do have that thing of, remember Gareth Bale talking about it lots of, I have to dive because I don't want the contact because I don't want to get injured. But if I don't go down, I don't get the foul. So I understand that. I don't, however, think that we're in that situation with this one, because it's a bit disappointing from Sinclair. With Max Aaron's, I think you could see the slightest contact. I think with this one, I think Taylor Moore. So there he is making the challenge. Sinclair knocks the ball away. So Moore doesn't get the ball, but he does, however, withdraw his foot, and then Sinclair goes down. And I just don't want to see football go too far this way, because there's no tackle. If you withdraw your foot, there's no tackle. Sinclair could have kept going. He's not impeded, which was the whole point of fouls being brought in. Is defender stopping the attacking player by kicking them and impeding them? It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a disappointing one, because players now go into the box, and particularly with no VAR to check it in the Championship, they know, especially a speedy player like a Max Aaron's or a Scott Sinclair like this, that they can frankly heavily influenced the referee with their actions. So I didn't think this was a penalty, is what I'm saying, long and the short of it. I know they go for you and they go against you. And in some ways, do you applaud it and say, well, within the current framework, they're using the situation to best advantage them? But again, as a fan, it's a bit lame, isn't it? But it is what it is. Penalty got given, and Dan Johnson scored it. Bristol City, they went with Backinson and Semenyo, changed system in the second half, couldn't force the goal. There's the best chance. Hunt crosses it in. Semenyo couldn't quite just cushion it past Rudd in the goal there. So here are the numbers. Preston... yeah, I mean, on by the numbers, it's a Preston win. Some other chances for Sinclair and a couple on the breakaway, whilst Bristol City are pushing. But there is still that slightly dodgy penalty feeling about this. So 3 big chances to 1 for Preston, and they go ahead and get the victory, which we do Preston first, puts them 15th, 7 points in 5. So a bit of a move forward, although Preston's natural position seems to be a bit further up than that. I mean, maybe they've made their bed with some good performances from Alex Neil particularly before, and they need to be a bit higher. Bristol City sliding. I don't know when these players that we keep mentioning, Mawson, Sessegnon, Patterson, etc., come back. Talk of them bringing Casey Palmer already back from Swansea. I don't know whether the loan deal allows them to do that, but yeah, that's the state of it at the moment. Let's have a look at your comments. What have we got here? Holden needs to go to a back 4 permanently, says Chris. It did work in the second half, didn't it? For Preston, you can look at it as 2 ways: seeming to get best from Sinclair, team stepping forward, finding consistency, or finally appearing to snap on our contacts and have 10 days to keep Big 4. Who's the Big 4, Alistair? Are they running out of options? Preston must be the most frustrating team this season. Beat Bournemouth, Brentford, Borough, Reading, Bristol City. Get beaten by Rotherham, Birmingham. It's so erratic, aren't they? Deary me. Neil has lost his way, like he did at Norwich, says Chris. Preston would love the clean sheet here. Didn't know they had the worst record. Oh, yes, good point. Yeah, they have conceded a ton of goals. If Preston want potential playoffs, well, I thought they'd got a striker, smug flyer in Reese, but he's not being used. Davis looks certain to leave now for nil. DJ and Pearson literally been 0 news, and Brown wide assumption. Oh dear. There you go. So there could be some players going for nothing there. Matthew says performance from Rudd. It was a good performance from Rudd, actually. Yeah, made a good save from O'Dowda as well. Liam says a few big results against top teams, but I have to say was expecting more from Preston this season. Yeah, I possibly agree with that. Game number 9 of 11. Thank you for sticking with me. 3 to go, guys. 3 to go. Is Millwall 1, Forest 1. Actually, I think I must have got a few of my predictions correct this week, because I predicted this one to be a draw. I thought Rowett and Houghton, how can it not be a draw, especially given both had won their previous game and will take the nice 4-point little package across the 2 games. There, get your thoughts on this one. Millwall 1, Forest 1. Some sense of stabilising now over the last few games at Millwall, although they do need some more wins. What is the solution this time for Rowett? Bart in goal, Romeo, Hutchison, Cooper and Wallace, Williams and Leonard, Bennett, Bradshaw with off Bodvarsson and Wallace. Is it more 4-4-2-y than 4-2-3-1-y? I wonder. There's your Forest team. Samba, Christie, Sa, Worrell and Ribeiro. Looks like Mbaye Sa is ready to go now under Houghton. Expensive young signing from PSG, wasn't he? So and Yates are the double pivot. Amiobi, Cafu, who's getting a few games. Myton gets to start. And Graben. And look at some of the names on the bench. I can just see Lolly and Knockout. Is Freeman injured as well? Some good players in that squad and not in that team. Get your comments in on this one, guys. I think that's a penalty, isn't it? That shot has been hit by Jed Wallace. So we're looking for either a deliberate handball or an arm in an unnatural position. So I think Forest probably got away with one there. I think, who is that? So I think his arm's in an unnatural position there in terms of making a block. So Millwall could have had a penalty there, but they do take the lead. What an assist by John Daddy Bodvarsson for this one. Dribbles down the left, cuts it back. Look how many defenders he's got with him. He's been occupied by 3 defenders as well. And Bradshaw, look at that. Talk about, we say didn't quite sort his feet out. There's an example of a player who really did sort their feet out, just to angle that one into the far corner. Good finish. Disappointing goal as well for Millwall. It's just a straight ball down the middle. Don't let it bounce, says my mate Dave. They let it bounce. Myton gets in behind. Is that his first goal? Young Myton. Someone let me know in the comments if you know better than me. Big chance for Millwall at the end here. Jed Wallace cannot make that simple pass there across the box into quite a big gap for, who is it running in? That's Bradshaw as well. And didn't fancy the shot there. So from what I've seen in the highlights, looks like Millwall might have thought that they would have won this one. And yeah, look, the numbers bang that out even more. So maybe I'll revise what I've said about happy with the draw. Millwall will probably think they should have won it. Only 1 shot on target for Forest, 15 shots, 5 on target. Only 1 big chance apiece. So still an issue with chance creation for Millwall. But maybe they should have had a penalty, and maybe the old big chance stat doesn't register when someone just crosses a really big opening across the box and there's actually no shot. There's the table. So Millwall now, I mean, when you look at it over the past 4 games, have hit 5 points. So that's obviously an improvement from the doldrums of the 10 without a victory. 4 points in 2, but they will be feeling that they should have won this, and that indeed would have put them up a couple of places above Luton, wouldn't it? Forest, they'll be happy, won't they? 4 points in 2, and given Derby and Rotherham didn't play, that draw doesn't drop them into the bottom 3, where someone was going to be picking up a point or possibly 3 in that game. So yeah, Forest moving steadily but very, very slowly towards a reasonable points total. We'll see whether it be enough. Maybe Houghton's still got some sorting out to do in January. What do we got here? Gaza says, like the attacking intent last 2 games, gave away sloppy goal just after taking the lead. Another handball. I did have the handball. I did pull that one out. Yeah. I think VAR needs a lot of fixing before they use it in the Championship, in particular offside. Yeah, we could do with it when it's ready. They can work on it a little bit more. But in terms, fans have just got to learn to cope with it soon. So bring it on if they can do it. Always baffled me. Fans love for Ryan Woods, convinced he had a nightmare performance. I think a lot of that, Alex, goes back to his time at Brentford. However, where the system was set up to completely suit him. I remember Brentford literally setting up a 4-1-4-1 with the whole idea to leave him with 10 yards of space either side of him. So, yeah, maybe other clubs, that hasn't been the case. Ain't nobody like John Daddy. There you go. Massive penalty shout at the start. Agreed. It should have been a penalty, that one. Decent result considering the money in the Forest side. Rowett's faith in Bodvarsson seems to be paying off. John Daddy. 5 away points for Forest this season. Expect a few more away draws as Houghton tries to tighten things up. Agreed. 4-4-2. Woods not even in the squad. Rowett must stick with this. Send Woods, Malone and Zahor back. Re-sign Mollenby. Yet another home draw we should have won. Oh, it was referee Langford, was it? Enhances his reputation as worst Championship ref. Chris, the referee I saw at Stoke yesterday was so good. I couldn't, this is the measure of ref. I couldn't tell you his name and I barely noticed him. So we had a good one there. And referee Stroud is improving, isn't he? Or becoming slightly less maddening. Right, 2 to go, guys. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 0. I should be a bit more excited when I say that. Tony Pulis has won a game as Sheffield Wednesday manager, and all it took was one win, and they're off the bottom. They beat Coventry 1-0, did Wednesday. There are your teams in this one. Westwood, Dunkley, Lees, Palmer, Harrison, Reach, Wide, Shaw. Oh, did Bannon get injured? Anyone smart me up on that one? And Pelopessi, that won't be good news. Windass and Patterson. For Cov, who'd been on a good run, Wilson, Ostigard, McFadzean, Hyam, Darbo and McCallum, Allen and Sheaf. Remember, Coventry, Kelly or Hamer, the central midfield pair there. O'Hare, Walker and Biamu. Still plenty of decent players on that pitch for Coventry, even in their absence. However, and there is the goal. And can you just see at the bottom of the picture there? Barry Bannon, he's just popped that free kick into the back post, and it is headed in by Tom Lees. So Pulis ball in action. Should have been 2-0. Who is that? Is that Adam Reach on his right foot? Someone, or is it Windass? I can't see the number. Can anyone correct me on that? Big chance to make it 2 as Coventry go for it a little bit more at the end of the game. So great news for Wednesday. All doom and gloom. Chansiri, no money for new players. Pulis is furious. Not going to get to deal in January. All of these rumours coming out. Players not being paid. Another points deduction. All utter disaster. But it's football. You win a game and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, okay. We can see a way out of this now. 61% possession to Cov. Again, Pulis ball in action. However, 2 big chances to 0 in Wednesday's favour. That will be the blueprint for Mr. Pulis. And it worked today. And oh my God, look on the bench. Izzy Brown. I know you lot will laugh. I really like Izzy Brown. I know he's always injured, but whenever he plays in the Championship, he makes a difference and gets loads of key passes and assists. So can he stay on the pitch for more than 10 games in a row? So I didn't mean to do that. Just want to look at the table. So here's the worry for Coventry, who've been on a really nice run, that they've put 6 points in and they're without Hamer and Allen in the short term. I don't know how long, to be fair. Have they put enough of a gap in, given what they're probably going to do between now and the rest of the season, to stop the 3 big teams below them, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby and Forest? And it only really needs 2 big teams, who we do expect to push on. And it only really needs, 2 of them to outscore Coventry to pull them down. Look at it, though. It's a 10-point gap. But still, if you're a Coventry fan, even a draw in that one yesterday, and that gap, we're in 6-pointer zone here. So a good win for Wednesday, an important win over someone who they'd want to try and suck down. We've been full of praise for Coventry recently. Good form. And God, of most of those teams, even up as far as Preston, they're the most sorted in terms of what they're trying to do and who they're trying to play. In fact, I would say, out of everyone down there in the bottom half, other than Luton, or Barnsley or Huddersfield, and go figure, they're 14, 13 and 12, they're more sorted. It's almost like having a consistent team and game plan actually works, isn't it? Hey, who'd have thunk it? Let's have a look at your comments in this one. Reverse fixture in a few weeks. Oh, is it one of those weird ones, Jim, where you play them once and you play them all of a sudden very quickly again? I do wonder what Izzy Brown could have achieved if he hadn't gone to Chelsea when just first getting started. He's a really good player, Hamza. Really good player. Just can't stay fit, can he? You got to love it. The Churn-Meister Express, not great on the passes. Brown started well, got injured, and now he's back. Pulis doesn't, but that's a fair point. He's not the most Pulis type player, is he? Maybe you're right there. Same with Forest, really. They're pretty poor with yesterday's gift. Only scored 4 away. Wouldn't get carried away with this. Coverpour away and missing Kelly and Hamer. Don't think The Bannon injury is too serious. Had some ice on his leg, but looked an impact injury. Fantastic performance. A lot of attacking intent. Could have been 3 or 4. Nice. Our Wednesday fans are happy at last. Get in, boys. There's Nat. There we go. We'll give him a shout out. It's been rubbish, hasn't it, for Wednesday? But look, if I'm Tony Pulis and I'm relying on set plays, I want Barry Bannon on the pitch every minute of every game. Do no running, but just take all the set plays. I think that's the way forward. Westwood was brilliant, says Thea. I think there's another comment for Westwood in there. There you go. I'm very critical of Westwood, but he was great. He's found his way back in after falling out with Mr. Gary Monk earlier in the season. One more to go, given Rotherham and Derby was postponed. And it is Wycombe versus QPR. And if anything ever summed up why these two sides are in the bottom 6, it's this game where either team, you can argue, could have got a win in this one, given the game state. I'll explain in a second. But it's an unhelpful draw, and neither of them get the 3 points. There is your Wycombe team. Allsop, Grimmer, Knight, McCarthy, Jacobson, McCleary, Wheeler, Freeman, Horgan, Kashket, Akin, Fenwa, QPR, Dieng, Kane, Dickey, Barbe, Hammerlinen, Cameron Ball, Bright Samuel, Tom Carroll, Ilias Chair, Linden, Dykes. So just to what I was saying a couple of minutes ago, both these managers do have a fairly reasonably settled, say, core of 7-8 players. So maybe I was being a bit unfair. Hey, it doesn't always work. Let's have a look at the pictures from this one. And that is a very big chance for Scott Kashket. Puts it straight at Dieng. Here is a rubbish goal. Is that Chair who's crossed it in from the right? Normally, if QPR are doing something good, Chair's not far away from it. And who scores the own goal? Is it Grimmer? No, McCarthy, excuse me. So McCarthy slides in and puts it past his own keeper at the near post. So we can miss a big chance, and then it's a rubbish goal. QPR lead. So just ineptitude all round here. There's Kashket again, and he wasn't offside. Bounces back to him. Dieng sat on his backside. Can he just head it into the over the keeper's head? No, over the bar. Came at him quite quickly, to be fair. And then, so you have this situation where we're now late in the game. What time was the equalising goal? 88th minute. So on the one hand, if Wycombe take their chances, they can win this game. On the other hand, QPR are 2 minutes away from winning it. So you see what I'm saying? Both sides will come away going, oh, I could have won that game. But they don't. And it's a good goal, actually, by Mehmeti. Drives into the box there. He's going to hit that right-footed, give everybody the eyes. That's going to Dieng's right. I think it might go through his hands. Can't quite remember. And you get the equalising goal, and you get the unhelpful draw, which everybody else down the bottom is like, oh, happy days. Neither of those teams have managed to get a victory again. And, I mean, if you look at it from a Wycombe point of view, 3 big chances to 0, they'll feel they should have won. Look at it from a Rangers point of view, you 1-0 up with 88 minutes on the clock and you don't get the victory. So, irritating for both teams. It kind of sums up, really, why they're down the bottom. They're just not getting the victories, are they? And there is the league table. Rangers are on a hell of a slide, actually. Should we just drill down into that really quickly? Drill down into it. Like they used to say on, what's the program where you go on and pitch your idea? I can't remember. What's that bloody program that, oh God, tell me in the comments, where you go on and you've got a business. Drill down. And they should say that. Anyway. Yeah, look, that's 1 win in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it was a 3-2 win against Rotherham as well, who are not great away from home. And then Wycombe, no wins in 10 as well. So this is just very poor, isn't it? Very poor from both. And if I am a Sheffield Wednesday fan or a Derby fan or a Rotherham fan or a Forest fan, I'm thinking, can you reel QPR in? Because for all that Warburton plays nice football and Chair and Samuel are excellent players, they're on a horrible run and you can't actually... You need to see it click, don't you? And all of a sudden they start scoring goals and winning games. but it's not happening. And that's the issue, because they scored tons of goals last year, didn't they, with Eze? They had Hugill, Wells, Eze, Chair and Samuel. And now they've got Dykes, Chair and Samuel, basically. So maybe a drop-off in quality up top is the issue. But, yeah, you'd be targeting, if you were Rooney or Pulis or Houghton, or even Paul Warne or Gareth Ainsworth, to be fair to those managers. For Wycombe, it's so obvious, isn't it? It's the most straightforward analysis you'll ever need to do. And one of those irritating people who knows nothing about the Championship, who just looks at the table, could make the same claim, but they just don't win any games, do they? It's they're competitive. I always call them competitive. They've scored points in 8 of these games, but only won 2 of them. They've only scored 12 goals in 20, 2 wins in 20 as well. So it's fairly obvious they don't make enough chances, score enough goals to win games. That being said, they did make enough chances to win this game, but didn't execute, didn't score the goals. What are you guys saying in the comment? Dragon's Den. Of course it is. Dragon's Den. Thank you, guys. What have we got in the comments here? Still convinced QPR will end up in the bottom 3. Never been so unconvinced with a team. Definition of benefiting from teams in a bad moment. Agree with that one, Alex. I'm lost for words. Bond needs to start. Warburton needs to go. Wycombe are doomed. I like to. Chris is a really smart guy. I like to try and debate him and try and get the conversation going. Chris, I can't debate you on that, mate. I've not got a good argument. I've not got a good enough argument back for that one, so I won't even try. Is that enough to keep Warburton in the job? What, just staying up? I don't. You have to ask the Rangers fans on that one. I don't know. I don't know what the expectation is. Is it enough? What we do know, and believe me, I'm a fan of one of these teams. If you're on a downward trend in the Championship and you don't have A, parachute payments, B, a brilliant crop of players that you can recruit and sell and recruit from, or C, a brilliant manager like Chris Wilder, give or take where he is in the Premier League at the moment. If you don't have any of those things, you know what's happening in the end. You know, every season, another 3 teams come down with parachute money and brilliant squads. Another 3 teams come up with, frankly, a better pattern of play than you do, because, go figure, they've just got promoted and you've just been treading water. So it only goes one way. The things in favour at QPR are, yes, they do have, and from last season, obviously, moving on, good young players, as in Eze, who they've sold. Has the recruitment in replacing him been good enough? Not yet, or hasn't proven to be yet. There's still Chair and there's still Samuel. So they do have the tools, but then you need to recruit well. Every team that gets promoted, other than, say, Wolves, who just threw a load of money at it, every other team, when you look at them, they all sell one of their best players. They all do it, even if it's Leeds and Rolando Vieira and Jack Clark and Norwich and a James Maddison, Sheffield United and a David Brooks. They all have to sell, don't they? So there we go. Right. I think we're just about there. Sorry, let me just take that last comment. We have to be careful, FFP debt. Yeah, it goes one way, doesn't it? One way. Right, one more thing to look at is this from the EFL. This afternoon, Sky Bet Championship fixture between Rotherham and Derby has been postponed due to an outbreak of COVID, with players and first-team staff required to self-isolate, blah, blah, blah. Game postponed. So we've got nothing to say about Rotherham and Derby. Probably a bit disappointing for Derby because they played so well against Swansea, didn't they? Sorry, I'll just use that table. Anyway, so yeah, Derby would have wanted to continue their run, but I think this season, just take a week off or 10 days off whenever you can get it. So it'll be annoying because if Rooney had have known, he would have probably given his players a good few days rest, and then ramping the training up this next few days. So a little bit annoying, but hey, it'll be deferred, that game. Where was it going to be? It was at Rotherham, wasn't it? So it's another key game that's postponed, and we'll see when they decide to put it back in. Any comments on that one? Sensible decision, really, says Dave. What else have we got on that one? Nothing else on Derby and Rotherham. No. Right. Lovely job, you lot. Let's have a think about our team of the week for this one. Let's just have a quick look at your top scorers. I don't think any of them scored, so there's not much to say this week. Tony, Armstrong, Zhao, Pookie, Moore, Solanke, Ayew, Woodrow, Sinclair. Oh, Buendia. So one of them scored. Buendia moves on to 6. A slow week, really, for everybody else. Team of the week. Let's have a look. Well, Norwich, we've got to tip our cap to them, haven't we? In respects of now they look as good as 18-19 and they're 5 points clear. So great job there, and maybe we can give it to them for the ongoing work there. Borough winning 4-1 at Birmingham, possibly. That one there. Anyone else? Or Sheffield Wednesday. So let me know who you think. For me, it's Norwich, Borough, or Sheffield Wednesday for getting there. But I'd be happy with any of those 3 teams. Someone's mentioning Brentford in there as well. Yeah. Fair dues again for their work. But if you're giving it on that theory, then it has to go to Norwich, really, doesn't it? Because there's for the same reason, and they've done it slightly better. Borough team of the week. Borough. Oh, okay. We'll go with Borough then. But big tip of the cap to Norwich as well, and Sheffield Wednesday. And a big tip of the cap to all you lot. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I don't know what's going to be happening for the rest of the day. In an ideal world, if I was really organised and not completely worn out, I would do both Leeds Man United and Villa and West Brom. But I might, in the end, only get to do one of them. We'll see how I'm feeling. I've still got to write my report up from yesterday and get the match experience out as well. It just never ends. So I may well see you later in the day. We'll see how we go. With all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. Everybody who stayed for the entire hour and 28 minutes of this. I will try and remember to put the time codes in so you can just flip straight to your team, although not a lot of you saying that at the end of the video, because those people who are going to want to do that won't watch this bit, will they? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do when YouTube Mania comes running wild, brother? Right, thank you, everybody. Please, before you go, just hit like on the video on whatever platform you're watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and get involved over on Patreon, doing loads and loads of stuff over there. Really enjoying that, and got a good few sign-ups this week. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we did it. 9 rounds in 5 weeks. We previewed every single game. We reviewed every single game. And I think, like the players, I need a bit of a rest over Christmas. So there we go. That was Championship round number 20 reviewed. I'll possibly see you later for 1 or 2 watch-alongs. But in the meantime, all that remains for me to say is over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.